Streams of Thought Vol.3 Cain and Abel is the latest studio album from Roots frontman Black Thought, serving as the latest installment in the Streams of Thought series. Through his work with both the Roots and his more recent solo output, Black Thought has built up his reputation as one of the most respected lyricists in the game, and it's not hard to see why. Black Thought has always been able to pick his words very, very carefully and paint these very vivid and nuanced pictures of the world he lives in and provide engaging commentary on it. This new project is no different in that respect. What is different and what is refreshing is that this late into his career, he's still able to bring some new and some fresh ideas and bring a new spin to his established way of making music. This album is an album for 2020, so to speak. He doesn't mince his words when it comes to issues of social injustice, police brutality, and even the COVID-19 pandemic. Instrumentally, this album is very grand, it's organic, and it's murky at times as well. And I think that murkiness adds to the overall sense of unease that Black Thought is trying to communicate on a lot of this album. On the first full proper track on here, which is State Prisoner, Black Thought comes steaming out of the gates with a expected very, very dense lyrical display alongside the backdrop of a truly monstrous beat. That momentum keeps going with the very next track, which is Good Morning, which features Pusha T, Killer Mike, and producer Swiss Beats. I believe Good Morning was one of the singles that dropped prior to the release of the album, and it's not hard to see why they selected this as a single. It's undoubtedly one of the most powerful and best tracks on the entire album, and I think all of the artists that contributed on this track gave their complete all. As usual, particularly on this track, Black Thought is able to say so much with the fewest words possible. At one point he says, "The thin line between savants and savages, your life could depend on the law of averages. The difference between black and white is just mad privilege." Pusha T is, as usual, pumping his chest, bigging himself up, but does it in a very, very witty, clever, charming manner. And Killer Mike comes through with a kind of short and concise, but very, very engaging short little history lesson on colonialism and the African diaspora. Magnificent is possibly one of, if not the strongest song on this entire album. The beat for this song is driven by a very prominent, funky bass line and very loud, crisp drums. Black Thought absolutely goes crazy and loses his mind in the best possible way with maybe the best set of bars I've heard on a track all year. At the start of the second verse, he says, "The big homie in the Smithsonian, I'm an ox, so the box niggas can't throw me in. The punishment I'm hit him with is draconian. It's in me, muscle memory is Pavlovian." I don't think I can remember, at least this year, the last time a single set of bars just made me so excited about someone rapping. Black Thought chooses to cover a relatively wide range of topics on this album, whether they be social, political, or emotional or personal. And that can be a pro or a con depending on the way you look at it. You do get a relatively wide range of issues covered very, very tactfully, but you don't get them covered as in depth as maybe you would want to, or maybe as much as you know Black Thought could have if he wanted to. The song Nature of the Beast is where he begins to open up emotionally and more personally. You see a more soft and vulnerable side to Black Thought where he speaks on his insecurities and his distrust of other people and what their intentions may be. It's distinctively more down-tempo and downbeat and somber than a lot of the songs on here, but it is one of the more introspective and open songs as well. It's also helped by a feature from Portugal the Man, who contributes to a couple of other songs on the album as well. We Could Be Good is another amazing standout on this album, with some amazing vocal samples laced into the beat. Black Thought speaks on just how hard and difficult it can be to maintain a healthy relationship. It's a very particular and specific picture that Black Thought is trying to paint, but he comes at it from more than just one angle, which makes it even more engaging. And it's one of the most emotionally vulnerable songs on the album. If I had to pick out a couple of downsides to this album, they would be relatively minuscule in nature. One would be that a couple of the features I think don't work as well as they could have. And two, sometimes Black Thought's lyrics are so dense and clever that it can sometimes remove some of the emotion of what he's saying. A couple of the Portugal the Man features I felt were a bit clunky and awkward, and the Schoolboy Q feature was, I think, not his strongest verse. One of my gripes with this album was the song Ghetto Girls and Boys, and that's just because it was so damn short, because it was essentially, well, it was an interlude. Black Thought, I think, has the perfect balance of lyricism and emotion on this song. Thankfully, the song that this interlude leads into, which is Fuel, is one of the strongest on the album. He manages to weave in references to T.S. Eliot, Ernest Hemingway, and Radiohead, and makes it sound completely natural. The album closes with I'm Not Crazy, which kind of sounds like a chopped and screwed version of the previous track, and it has Black Thought looking back and reflecting on his position in society and in the rap game. I think this new album, it doesn't prove anything that we didn't know already. I think if you're an active listener of hip-hop, then you're pretty much aware that Black Thought is one of the best lyricists working in the game today, and this album just solidifies that claim. This new album is pretty much exactly what I expected, which is a good thing. It's the sound of someone who is just so confident and polished in their respective art form. It's pretty much, at this point, if you go into a Black Thought project and it's essentially quality guaranteed, and that's exactly what he delivered here. Those are my thoughts on the album. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Make sure to like, subscribe, and dong the bell, and I will see you next time.